Welcome to the Expert in You Showcase, the show where we bring you quick, powerful conversations with elite entrepreneurs and other professional business experts to share their best strategies, secrets, and tips to help you have more success in your business and life. I'm your host, Carden, and this show is brought to you by Expert in You, where we empower professional entrepreneurs, business owners, and experts to become influential figures and celebrities in their markets and add 6 to 7 figures with more ease. Discover a game-changing secret that attracts leads, qualifies them effortlessly, warms them up for your offer, and hands them over ready to say yes. We want to make closing deals for you a breeze. It's time to stop chasing clients and consistently fill your calendar with highly qualified conversations and sales opportunities every month. Increase your influence, impact, and accelerate your income and strategies that work. Book your business accelerator call with me now at acarden.com and let's map out your next step. Today, I have a great guest for you. His name is Adam Chronister, and Adam is a marketing agency owner. And I am super excited to talk to him because of what he is doing out there in the entrepreneur space. So Adam, welcome to my show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Anne.
Yeah, I love it. So tell everyone just a quick little bit about what you do and who makes a good client for you and what you're actually offering in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I own and operate a digital marketing agency based in the West Coast. We have a heavy focus on website design and development and search marketing. So that's SEO, Google Ads, everything related to search engines, which incurs and allows people to find your business more visibly. As far as clientele, honestly, we work with clientele across the gamut, from small businesses all the way up to, large enterprise businesses. So we try to tailor our offerings to each and every business and customize it to, their particular needs and objectives. So,
And how long have you been doing this, Adam?
we've been in operation since 2009.
Okay. And how many people do you have in your company, or how do you work mostly with contractors? Do you have a lot of employees? What's sort of your business infrastructure?
Yeah, so it is a mix, but we have about 10 core team members across
Mhm.
different disciplines. And so yeah, from marketers to developers and designers, typically each campaign we embark on is going to have, a multi-touch approach. We want to make sure that we have the right people in the right positions for our clients.
It's such a different world in the marketing space now with all the contractors all over the world, and you can find
Yes.
such great talent, and you can just structure your agency so differently from the old days where everybody had to be an employee and be in your office. And
Right.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
and
so true.
yeah. How long did you say you've been doing this?
Since 2009. Yeah,
Since
that's when we
so
got
you've
started.
been doing this for a long time. Yeah. So you've seen a
Right.
lot of shifts in that time, I'm sure.
Oh, so many. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like it's slowing down, as many of your listeners probably know, right?
Right. Everyone's coming online. So how has
Yeah.
AI affected your business, Adam, or has it affected it or has it enhanced it?
It's definitely enhanced it and affected it. And
Mhm.
so yeah, it's been a really big shift as a practitioner of search engine optimization and even Google advertising in some regard. We're noticing a lot of changes in how search engines like Google operate, right? And they're taking a cue
Mhm.
from services like ChatGPT and other large
Mhm.
language models. In some regard, for the first time in a very long time, Google is kind of playing catch up, to be honest. And so, um, yeah, we're seeing a huge shift. I mean, even my day-to-day activities and behaviors are starting to change. And that tells me if they're changing for me, they're definitely changing for probably a lot of our clients, right? So we're at a point in search marketing and search technology where answers are even more readily available. And sometimes that means, going to something like ChatGPT for your answers or using the AI generated elements that are now available in search engines like Google. So
And so what has that done from the business side for you when you say, yeah, your day-to-day tasks are changing and you're seeing really that landscape change? In what ways are you seeing that in your business?
Yeah, so I think in some ways, things that we used to lean a lot more heavily on, we're starting to look for new opportunities. So for instance, we used to rely quite a bit on blog post content, kind of that traditional blog post Q&A type format to attract more visibility to a client's website. And while we still leverage that, we're finding now we have to spend a lot more time on the core elements of what, makes a business unique, right? So spending a
Hmm.
lot more time on describing their individual products and services, as opposed to an info, blog post on how to do A, B, and C. Since a lot of the quick query questions and answers that otherwise might attract somebody earlier in a buyer cycle are now starting to get a little bit more swallowed up with AI, right?
Right. No, that's so true. And one thing that also can help people set their products or services, yours, mine, everyone's, is interjecting also stories of clients and letting them see real stories, real client testimonials, experiences. All of those things can help set you apart. And those, for me, I know I integrate a lot more of those into my content now than I
Yes.
probably did in the past. And so I believe that those are some of the things you're talking about as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even prior to kind of this onslaught of AI, companies like Google have really started to emphasize, more of a brand or an authority footprint. For a
Right.
few years now, they've focused on this idea of what's called EAT, in short term, it's expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. If you
Hmm.
want to boil that up, you can kind of boil that down to a brand, right? And
Right.
so, because Google and other search engines have the challenge of trying to identify millions and millions of websites and figuring out who is a legitimate entity as opposed
Mm.
to, a fly-by-night company or something that's not going to stand around for a while, they look for those signals that stand out as a brand. So, for instance, like on a website, do you have some of those typical things you would expect? Do you have an about us page, a contact us page? Do you have FAQs, privacy policies, maybe an about the team page? All of these things send signals to companies like Google and search engines that, hey, this is a company that has a persona. It has some of those core established things that we would expect from a business where another maybe affiliate site or less brand or company oriented site might not otherwise implement.
Right. Yes, that's so important. And when you talk about trust, we're talking about credibility there as well. They have
Hmm.
to feel that you are credible. And my expert in you brand kind of came out of all of that, right? So
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you really do stand out in the market, but you have built that know, like, and trust. And
Hmm.
that has to be in any business now. I always say if you're not doing that, you're
Yes.
really playing a small game anymore. You really can't
Yeah.
very far.
Well, and I think that's also like what I've, because you're not the first to ask, like, how is AI changing marketing as a whole?
Mhm.
And for me, I'm starting to reflect more on the traditional aspects of marketing, which I think sometimes with all this new tech we can miss out on, right? I
Mhm.
had the opportunity to watch a documentary a couple weeks ago. It wasn't related particularly to marketing, but they had a snippet in there where they were hearkening back to the old traditional newspaper and billboard ads of old, and talking about all the different psychology that went into that. And
Mhm.
and for me, outside of just purely brand and building a brand, which I think is part of that, understanding some of those the psychology behind marketing. And so I think with the divergence of all of this new technology, I think it's going to rely that those of us that are marketers or even business owners for that matter, to think more about what is our brand, what is the message that we want to convey, because those things tend to rise to the surface regardless of technology.
Yes.
Just like the search engines utilize data and website information to reflect a response,
Mhm.
AI and large language models are doing something very similar. Now, the output's going to be different and it's kind of readapted and reinvented, but it's still using a baseline of information. So it kind of goes back to that whole motto, garbage in, garbage out. So the more that
Right.
you can solidify your brand, your messaging, build out an entity such as your website in a way that it has information that these systems can cling on to, you're still going to have a voice in this modern era.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You do still have to interject your voice. I love using things like ChatGPT, and I use it in my business, but I still have to interject my voice. I still have to put in the work.
Right.
I still have to put in the copywriting and the influence and the things that are part of who I am and the value that I can
Hmm.
bring. And so that's a really important point for people to know as well. You can't just, like you said, garbage in, garbage out. That's
Yep.
so true. So true. Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement. What are two big takeaways that you would give people right now that are thinking about SEO for their website, or maybe even thinking about working with an agency? Is it the right thing? A lot of people
Hmm.
now think with AI, it's replacing a lot of like Google search and chat GPT. People are now going to chat to find things out. What are some takeaways that you would have for people, or some maybe thoughts for them?
Yeah, I think the core thing is going to be kind of that core component that you own as a business, and ultimately that is your website, right? One of the things that I see missed the most, and this is outside of the AI conversation, is a lot of times people will not spend enough time or resources building that website infrastructure, be it the design, the architecture, or even some of the SEO optimized elements, not building that with proper foresight. And sometimes that's not on the business owner. Quite honestly, there's a lot of really high quality, well-meaning website design and development companies that can build a great, beautiful site, but also don't have the necessary disciplines to understand how that works with search crawlers, right? And so that would be kind of my number one thing is you know even with the large language models with AI, people still want to go to a website and look at what your product looks like, right? Or they still want to find, their local service provider in your area. So there are segments that we still are going to have to rely on these types of properties, website properties, because a large language model is not going to, you know, tell the whole story. And so I would say, go back and look at your website, get a better understanding either, with resources available online or even with, agencies such as ours to say, hey, is my website well equipped to show up both in search as well as to be crawled with these AI chat systems?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's such great information. And I used to, as I was helping with small business owners, get their websites developed and things like that. One of the other, you mentioned web developers a lot of times, oh, it's a beautiful site, right? But they didn't do anything to help people generate leads, and they really didn't care
Exactly. Yeah.
if anybody got any business from their website as long as it looked pretty. And your
Hmm.
website's more than a brochure. It really
Right.
should pre-sell you in your business. It
Yeah.
really should influence buyers, and it should be
Yeah.
generating leads. And if it's not doing that, you're wasting time and energy. And think of it as your storefront. You wouldn't want people just
Yeah.
walking by your store and not coming in. You want them to come in,
Right.
right? And you want to
Yeah. And quite
have
honestly,
conversations.
yeah, quite honestly, a lot of times this is not necessarily the fault of the web development team or developer. What I try to explain to people is there's quite a different divergence between computer science and data science, right?
Hmm.
And even design, right? You don't necessarily want the same person that is designing your website developing it. And the same goes with, the data science side. That's where our agency, I think, exceeds, right? We have the right people in the right role with a pretty good broad collaborative understanding of how all these pieces work. To give you some background, my background formally is in software development, but I realized early on, even though I went to college for computer science, that it wasn't what I wanted to do day in and day out. So that's how I pivoted into digital marketing. But I have still enough of a grasp of what it takes to create a website, but also that marketing prowess to understand how those things are bridged together. And so that's kind of the DNA of our company. And so whether you work with us or somebody else, just have a good understanding of where those limitations lie. And it's okay to find two different agencies if you need,
Hmm.
have one that's building your site and another that's consulting on the build from a marketing side. If you
Sure.
can't find an all-in-one house, right?
Yeah, that's great information. And what is your value proposition for your business? How do you stand out?
Yeah, we stand out. Essentially, how we describe ourselves is data-driven marketing. We like to let data tell the story and direct how we do our marketing. So, for instance, today I was talking to a prospect, and one of the first things I told him is, we're not going to give you a flat package. We do present a baseline so they can
Hmm.
walk away from the call, kind of understanding roughly what they might have to spend. But we're going to take a few of their competitors that they've provided, do some upfront competitor analysis, put that into our formal proposal, and then we can come back to the table, show them how they line up with their competitors and how that delta between them and their competitors feeds into our specific marketing strategy.
Okay. And what's your best way to get clients? I always love to share insights for client acquisition.
Yeah, so for us, it's kind of twofold. One, we practice what we preach. So we get a fair amount of clients locally just by our own optimization and footprint
Mhm.
in Pacific Northwest. Outside of that, we have a lot of great strategic partnerships. I do a lot of speaking both domestically and internationally, and so that brings in awareness.
Mhm.
So for us, it's one part personal and business brand, and then the other part is SEO. We don't actually, interestingly, we don't and haven't had to rely too heavily on advertising, knock on wood, just because the other areas are feeding us. But we do, of course, offer that for our clients as well.
Yeah. So you said you speak, and here you are on my podcast. Is that a practice for you to be building your influence and your brand in the market? Are you the face of sort of your company, or is that something
Yeah.
that you do ongoing? I think it's a missing piece for a lot of people.
Yeah, good question. No, showing up on shows like yours are part of the larger strategy, right?
Hmm.
We talked earlier about building a brand. This can be a personal brand or a brand of the business. And so,
Hmm.
yes, I very much operate as kind of the face of our business. Now, behind
Hmm.
the scenes, there's a whole team of experts. But yeah, I'm very much front and center, helping educate and inform businesses on the opportunities available. And so, yeah, we've definitely kept the pipeline going by building and establishing that personal brand, which is backed by that business.
Yeah. So what are your big goals for 2025? We're in a new year here, and I always love a new year. I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
What are your plans for your business?
I think right now, some of our big goals are really about kind of better optimizing our overall processes, right?
Hmm.
We have a lot of standard tried and true processes, but now we're looking for ways to, both with automation and of course AI, topic
Hmm.
of the day, streamline what we do so that we can, become more efficient with our time and actually more valuable to our clientele. So I think that's the big thing, is really taking those standard step-by-step SOPs and figuring out how can we automate this process more efficiently.
Yeah, so great. And what do you see to be challenges to be able to do that? What are challenges in your business?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is just time.
Time.
I think
Hmm.
and anyone who runs a business probably understands this pull of working, what is it, on the business instead of in the business, or is it the other way around? I always forget.
Yes.
But the idea is it's easy, especially for me as kind of an operator, to get pulled into day-to-day client stuff, which
Mm,
is of course relevant and necessary, but not setting aside enough time to actually work on the business, right?
yeah.
This is an example right now of where I'm doing that, right? Setting aside time from
Hmm.
clients and meetings and our team to work on some ability to have a voice out there. So it is a balance, and it's a balance we all have to
Hmm.
weigh. But yeah, don't forget about working on the business, not just in the
Yeah.
business.
And on that note, I'm going to add to that, because one of the things I teach people is, if you are working in your business, in it 10
Hmm.
hours or more a month or a week, excuse me, you're already losing money in your business. So
Right.
just FYI for everyone out there. Adam, this has been so great. Thank you for sharing your expertise. One final takeaway. And by the way, we will put all of his information in the show notes, how you can reach out to him, how you can get in touch with him if you need his services. But one takeaway for everyone to be able to go and apply.
Yeah, I think one takeaway is, similar to kind of the previous conversation. I think as business owners, don't forget to work on yourself, right? Whether that's reading a great autobiography, a personal development book, or even just, taking a weekend to kind of unwind and relax. Like,
Yes,
it's easy to get overwhelmed in business and lose the forest from the trees, but don't, remember to go back to the basics, work on yourself, give yourself some time to breathe, and also reflect on what you've built. So,
absolutely. Well said. Well, thank you again for being my guest. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, to Expert in You Showcase. Thank you again for being here. And until next time, everyone, go rock your business. God bless you. Bye-bye. If you are ready to attract high-paying clients like clockwork, build powerful influence, and scale your business with ease, let's talk. Book a complimentary $1 Million Accelerator Strategy call at acarden.com to discover how the Expert in You method can help you create a steady stream of premium clients and consistent revenue growth. Don't wait. Your next big breakthrough starts with a simple conversation. Visit acarden.com and let's make it happen. Have an amazing day, and God bless you.